So that was our presentation this morning, but I wanted to give you guys the racial equity and behavioral health presentation that we're working on and why there's so much money for you guys as social workers right now at jobs. Did you know that?
Yeah.
You know, so you know it because you're in the field, right? Like you're aware of you won't be rich, but you always have a job. So what were you going to ask? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I actually would have heard.
Oh, you hate that drink so much. Did you hate yours even more? You already threw yours in the trash. I apologize. I warned you. I said, this is all I have. A humble offering. We try to have the food pantry, but water is the first thing to go.
That's crazy.
I don't know why.
Buy their own water.
That's understandable though.
Yeah, because like drinking my water is it. I hate it.
In the market for like $15.
Do you drink the water up here?
The water on
Like tap water?
Yes.
No.
That's what I've noticed. I use that Brita filter, but even that,
I don't like it out here.
I filter it, then I make coffee with it, but that's the only time I'll drink it. Because if I filter it, it still tastes like, and so I brought all these up here. I'm trying to give up sugar and I'm having a hard time.
And the problem is, I was raised drinking tap water. It's just out there.
Well, didn't they shut it down recently?
It's not right. Yeah.
But the thing is, I wasn't even
It was bad
I was
before
not
that.
to take a shower. So
Oh, you couldn't even take a shower.
they turned
it off after telling people that they could take showers. That was
right.
sick.
Imagine you in the shower and you get that message.
Because
A lot of people in the shower,
They were in the
because they turned the water off before they sent out the message that they did it.
That's funny.
I took a shower those 3 days after I guess they said we could, but then it was all cold water at the running machine or the treadmill across from the stadium. Do you know what I'm talking about?
In the gym?
Yeah. And it hasn't been open since. Like, what happened? They shut it down. They have yoga class, and that's it. Right? So I haven't been able to exercise. That's messing with me. So do you guys know anything about racial equity and behavioral health? I know you were saying we are trying to, and this is what a lot of PWIs are. Does everybody know what a PWI is? Yes. So when I taught there, I was at UC, I was like a grad student from like 09. Is you teach your way to pay through school. You ever heard of that? Like if you teach for them, they'll give you free graduate school or for your doctorate. They were 7% diverse. And you know what the state of Ohio is diversity-wise? Anybody randomly? I believe it's 13% diverse. I don't have it in front of me.
That's terrible.
That's crazy.
So they were half that. And their faculty was lower than that. I think faculty was 6% diverse. So at UC and NKU, they were 7 and 8. They wanted the students to at least match the faculty and the faculty to match the students, if that makes sense. Cincinnati is also, what's that?
So it doesn't usually work out that way.
Right. You're never going to get a perfect elixir mixture, whatever it is. But like they're working on it. What we picked up on this research team was that in the state of Ohio, I want to give you the brief version as I don't want to take the whole time, but if this is something that interests you guys, there's becoming a lot of different research questions from this. We're releasing our reports. These are all the funders, so you have to show that at first. The two people from Central are myself and Dr. Johar, but he's psychology. Any of you had Johar yet?
Yeah.
What does he teach for you all? Intro? So intro. Are you double majors?
I started as a psych major. Though.
Okay. That's what I did and I finished.
I'm minor in psych.
Okay. It's only like 18, right? Is it 18 hours? Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. I did it. We were in the same class.
So essentially, okay, I want to jump right in. Like we were showing, gosh, how do you make it bigger? Is it just this thing? Is that any bigger? No. Okay. So data needed about the racial equity in Ohio's behavioral health system. And I've been a social worker for 25 years at this point. Like I've worked in Cincinnati. Anybody know the statistics on diversity in any big city in Ohio? How many of you are from Ohio? I guess I should start there. So everybody, right? You're not, but Chicago is going to be pretty similar to Cincinnati, maybe even more diverse.
I'm also not.
Cincinnati is 40% African American and 49% white, and then 11% other. Does that sound? So again, I'm rehearsing stats, and they change every year, so I might not have it spot on. So
the whole community in general in Ohio.
I'm sorry, you asked a question. I'm like,
You said were you talking about the population diversity in Ohio in general?
right in Ohio, because you've got the suburbs. It's more 87%, 13%.
79.65% white and overall.
Okay.
12.34% black, and then two other races it just says are 4%.
Okay.
Apparently to Google.
And the reason why we're looking into this is because a lot of times when you choose your therapist, you kind of vibe with them if they do have a somewhat understanding of your background, similar experience, maybe same upbringing. Obviously, you can be counseled by somebody of any race, like we get that. But at the same time, if you were able to choose, which we did this at Lighthouse Youth Services, we would say, do you want your therapist black, white, male, female? If we could match people, we did. Does that make sense? Does that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is a way of you're profiling your therapist, but if they're able to, they're allowed to, and that's why they would ask that. So research shows access to culturally competent care and provider racial bias. There's a stigma when seeking help for mental health, illness, and substance use disorders. Racial and ethnic concordant services are associated with positive outcomes. That's why they say, what person do you want? Male, female, gay, straight, and giving options for therapy. So are you guys following me so far? This is still half-baked research. Like we're still...
In psychology, empathy increases the buy-in. That's one of the most important things. They did say almost more important than any other variable, just the empathy, which is why a lot of sessions start out with just letting the patient just talk to understand you and make feel comfortable.
Yeah, so building that rapport, like checking in, like, oh, I grew up in that neighborhood too. Stuff like that. Oh, when I hit my button, I skipped it. But here is the breakdown. And we presented this with 4 of us. So I actually only had 1/4 of this, but I'm going to try to cover their stuff. For the whole population of Ohio from 10 to 20, there was a 14% increase in age-adjusted death rate for suicide. For non-Hispanic Black Ohioans, there is a concerning 87% increase suicide during that same interval. So that's a large increase. And that, again, sometimes the data comes first, then they try to react to what's going on. Like, okay, we need more social workers. We need more mental health therapists. If you were to guess how much of the social work, how much of the mental health services are provided by social workers in Ohio, what would you guess?
Like 7.
Because you got psychologists, right? You got counselors, you got chemical independency counselors, LICDC, I'm trying to say it the right way. Chemical, you got marriage and family therapists, and you got social workers. Anybody else? I hear 70 over here. Anybody? I hear it's 60 something. So you're pretty spot on. And like the mental health services by social workers is like 2/3 by social workers, because you get your LSW right when you finish here, or an MSW, because I was a dumb psych major. No, I'm not making fun of double psych majors or minors. I'm making fun of myself because I wish I got social work first is what I'm doing. So psych, obviously we use psychology here. So we're sharing our data that we presented at conferences. Next week, we have another presentation on this. And so the Black non-Hispanic males now having the highest drug overdose death rate in Ohio compared to other sex, race, and ethnicity groups. that one shocked me. As I worked in addiction recovery services forever, and like that one, I didn't see coming out of the blue or the woodwork. I guess knowing that they can sprinkle your blunt with some fentanyl or whatever, like that could make sense to me. After I started talking it through, I'm like, okay, that makes sense, but it's still like, WTF? Like, whoa, that's Black non-Hispanic males have the highest drug overdose death rate. Maybe that's why they legalized the weed, and you can buy it at a place that you don't sprinkle fentanyl on it like it's Frosted Flakes. I don't know.
It's the argument for all legalization of the drug.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's what they're showing here. So this is the age-adjusted rate of unintentional drug overdose deaths by race, ethnicity, Ohio. That's the past 5 years. I guess now it's the past 10 years. But when we started doing this research in the middle of the pandemic. So it was like 2021. And our second report covered workforce. So that's you guys. That's what you're trained to be. You're trained to be behavioral health workforce. If you choose to be a banker, that's okay. You can. People do. Some people switch back and forth. Maybe you want to go make burritos for a year and then be a social worker again, just to avoid burnout. And that's okay. Like there's no judgment on that. But according to the Association of Social Worker Board, it's ASWB, our licensing pass rate exam, white test takers had a pass rate of 83.9%, whereas black test takers had a pass rate of 45%. They've showed similar numbers on the SAT, if you remember. Like in the past, they showed that about, is it still called SAT and ACT? Did you guys ever hear that too, about statistics, about prepping for college, that there was a disparity in the numbers? Have you ever heard that, or is that long ago? I know one 20 years ago, I remember that. And okay, you did say 12.5% Ohioans identified as black alone, 4% Hispanic, but there's only 4.6% of all Ohio psychologists are black. And then Hispanic psychologists are 2.54%. So if psychologists were the only ones giving mental health therapy to everyone, they would be way short if you wanted to match up your therapist with like a similar life situation or growing up the same way you did or things of that nature. Also, the vast majority of pharmacists, 87% in Ohio are white, 3% of Ohio pharmacists are black, and about 0.5% are Hispanic. And then in many professions, educational requirements increase. Black professionals are increasingly underrepresented as compared to white counterparts. So those numbers, we want to change that. That's kind of our baseline that we took, and we're like, okay, this has to be changed. We want to have more social workers. There's the chair of our department calling too, because we got some crazy news that we might not be able to hire the social work professor. We actually have a search currently. I feel like 12 people applied, and it may just have to be shut down. Anyway, any questions so far? So this was our report. We're finishing report 2 and 3, and it was mostly just stats. So we're going quantitative. Do you guys know the difference between quantitative and qualitative research? Did you have to take that class yet? I know some of you might not have. And that's quantity is like numbers and statistics a lot. Qualitative is like interviews and like a software called In Vivo. It'll usually transcribe it, and then you pull themes out that you're seeing, like a common theme. Like it was hard to take the LISW exam. Well, this is what we're predicting, as we haven't done them yet. But like to get the independent license, it was hard to get supervision because not all workplaces offer it for free. They make you pay $50 an hour for supervision, which is sad. It never happened 20 years ago. So here's kind of the breakdown. Well, yeah, did you guys know this about licensure? This is the same for us as it is for the LICDC, the LPCC, the LMFT. Oh, independent marriage and family therapist. So there's also IMFT. So you always get the master's to receive an independent license. That's why it's such a big deal when y'all graduate. It's only 1 year to get your master's. All these other ones are 2-year masters. So social work's the only one that kind of gets you a head start. Senior year, you're in graduate school in a way. It is kind of cool, actually. It's a big savings, but it's master's plus 2 years. You get clinically supervised for 150 hours. You have to work 3,000 hours, which is a normal. You know how many work hours are in a year by random chance? If you just did 40 weeks and you got 2 weeks vacation, or 40 hours a week and you got 2 weeks vacation, you got 50 weeks because there's 52 weeks in a year. So what's 50 times 40?
You say 50 times 40 or something?
2,000. So 2,000 of those hours are done in your first year, and then 3,000. I guess I'm just trying to illustrate what it takes to get your independent license. It's always 2 years. If you did have a surgery or 3 months off or something, you still can cover those 3,000 hours. Now in Kentucky, it actually is 4,000. Anybody from Kentucky here? Because it's actually really hard to get a license in Kentucky. I don't know why. Maybe they want to make for sure you're going to do a good job. So same with LISW. This is us right here. So you guys will get your LSW. You qualify to take the test your final semester senior year. And then LPC is the same. Do you know anybody ever heard of a Masters of Counseling program anywhere? So that's the same, but you always do 2 years or the 60 hours. Social work, we get advanced standing, it's like 34 hours. And then 100% of licenses self-reported. So we just pulled this data from Ohio, and there is an important point from this, but we're kind of showing how much work you have to do after graduate school to get this. Now with the LSW, all you need is that bachelor's degree or a social work assistant. Actually, I think they marked that wrong, but LPC masters, most of these are masters plus 2 years. Social work, we do qualify for your license. This is, yes.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay. No.
I was gonna say, I know that those stats are for Ohio as a whole, right?
They are for Ohio as a whole.
Okay, so do you know if it would be more similar to, I guess, are you familiar with like the education pipeline for the state of Indiana, like the requirements, like are they that much different?
Oh, it would be very, very similar in Indiana. The one I know that's different is Chicago will give you the basic LSW without a test. If you want to go work in Chicago and you don't want to take a test, they'll give you like that LSW with a BSW.
Just hand it to you.
What's that?
In a sense, it's just like, here you go. It's like
I
taking
think,
a-
I mean, you guys still have to do 120 hours. You've got your 400-hour practicum here. You've got your training. You've got they just took away the test.
I see.
In Ohio, they probably will never take away the test because we're one of the only states that allows you to diagnose with your LSW, your basic introductory license. So we can diagnose. Your supervisor signs off on it, but you can do the assessment and diagnose somebody with DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistics Manual, where you're like, they're depressed, they're anxious, they're substance use disordered, something of that nature. But your supervisor signs. You write the whole 8-page assessment. Have you guys seen assessments? I guess if you work in the field, you see them. So you can be trained to do that. Our intention is really it's your internship when the rubber hits the road. So you do 400 hours over 16 weeks your senior year, and that's where you learn for me, I was hands-on. That's how I liked it. Yes.
Where do you take the license exam?
They are changing it now, but I think they're going to do it with like the cameras, the way that school lets you.
Online.
They are changing that because I had to go to a test. They patted me down. They looked under my bill cap. They took my sunglasses. I felt molested. And they took everything.
Based on your camera,
What's that?
laptop?
I think now it is like what's that software they give you that test that is like
Lockdown.
The first time I saw it, like my friend was taking her driver's test.
like locks down. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were saying.
Like she took her written portion of her driver's test on a laptop.
Oh, so they're doing that now too?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've never had that experience.
The only thing with that is that they have like it's like eye tracking. So like if your eyes are to come off of the screen, you will fail
Yeah.
Right.
for cheating.
Yeah, and if you got ADHD, your eyes will come off of the screen.
That's my
Yeah.
thing is like I'm someone that's just gonna be like, I'm just scared.
And that's why I don't even play like that.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
and
never
it's-
be your person.
Doesn't it lock down your whole computer so only that system is open? Everything else.
Switch to another tab.
Okay, that's what I thought, but so I don't know if that answers. Was there a question? Was that the question?
I mean, I thought it was like we go to a certain place.
Test center, like Sylvan Learning Center. I think I did. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I got a 71 for my LSW and a 75 for my LISW.
Is it hard?
I studied. I
How-
passed.
How did you study?
I took the practice test over and over and over and over and over and over until it was like stupid.
Yeah, I looked up practice tests and you have to pay for them.
They always sell them.
That's-
I have a few. If you email me with a specific request, I can send you some. As whenever I find them, I hawk them and download them. I have it for the what's the law school exam? LSAT. I have 5 practice exams for that. I dropped out of law school. I did 2 years of it. I'm like that close. But let me get to any questions at this point. Is any of this making any sense at all?
Yep.
Okay. Are you sure? Are you just blowing smoke up my ass because you're like, let's get this shit over with and get out of here?
As much as it can at this point, for sure.
Because I've been up since 4 a.m. Is that turkey presentation? It was 2 p.m. there. That's why we had to do it. So we had a presentation at 5. We had a presentation at 6. My son woke me up at 3 and he's like, I want another bottle. And I'm like, so I do need the caffeine that you guys wait. You mentioned the caffeine. See, you two. I can't remember anymore. I am that type. Oh, and this does not, I don't think that shit.
Yeah, I tasted that too. That's disgusting.
It's the only way to,
No.
I've had a liter of coffee, 2 double shots, those little Starbucks things. That was my morning. And then I had 1 cup here. We have a Keurig. If you really want a cup like that, I have a Keurig. Coffee or tea or pop?
Hop in a Keurig?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you drink coffee, I always have that.
Okay.
Okay. I do have tea too. So these are the other ones. I hate to blast through these quickly, but I'm not as interested in pharmacy. Obviously, there's some important stuff in here. I'm not a trained pharmacist, but we still looked at the stats because it was an easy pull from the website. And the PharmD is only 5 years. It is a doctorate now. And then the addictions ones, I am kind of, peer support is usually prevention specialists. So you can get that with your GED or high school. Whoa. Is that, okay, I can see it here. So here's some of the important findings though, is it too small? Can you read that even though? 'Cause
Yes, we can see.
it's like an eye chart.
I see yes, 199.9.
I can see a little bit of it.
Anything
Just read
shocking?
it. You could just.
I was gonna say, anything shocking to you on there?
I just
I
look.
can read
Sorry,
that. I can read that.
From what I remember, because even that's still low. That's still lower than the 12.5%. So we only have 11.39% counselors, social worker, marriage and family therapists.
Higher peer support specialist, 25.68%.
Oh, that's where it's the highest, right?
That's where it's highest, yeah.
And then, so we were correlating that with like, as the education demands go up, because we have a lot of first generation college students here. Like my wife is a first generation college student too. As the demand gets thicker and you pay more for school and you've got life happens, family happens. Graduate school is really hard as life happens. Part of why I waited till 42 years old to have my first kid. Like there was no way I could have done some of these. But see how low even nursing is. So nursing's lower, like 9% Black alone, 1% Hispanic alone. They're not matching the data that we have. Prevention specialists are, like you said, one of the highest. Chemical dependency, that's another degree you can get with your associates or another license. It's called a CDCA. You get chemical dependency counselor assistantship. So as a program here at Central State, we want to improve these numbers. And what that looks like is graduating more of you guys, getting you ready for the test, getting you ready for your licensure, getting you ready for graduate school. There is one trick they say is take your licensure test before you're done with your first semester at your master's degree in Ohio. Why do you think that is? Get your LSW test taken before you're done with your first semester of graduate school, at least in the state of Ohio. Because they have a bachelor's level test and a master's level test. So you can get your LSW and you have it forever. And the bachelor's level test apparently is a little bit easier than the master's level test. And once you've finished a semester, you're in your first year of graduate school, they want you to take the master's level test.
So the incentive to do it earlier so there's a gap.
Well, it's easier. It's just an easier test.
I see.
That's all. Because they're testing, they do call it like, if you look on.
Cases, you're saying if you take the bachelor's, you won't have to take the master's level?
So for your initial LSW, correct. But when you get your independent license, you still will take the LISW test. And it's because different states differentiate. Because in Kentucky, they call you LSW if you've got a bachelor's, CSW if you have a master's, and LCSW if you're independently licensed.
So what's the difference? Like what is
The-
independent license?
That means you can sign off on your own diagnosis, treatment plans, run your own business. You can call the shots. You can put up your shingle anywhere you want and just run your own business.
You can bill insurance.
Yes. And they pay you more too. You're not dependent licensed, which means you're dependent on a supervisor to sign off on it.
So like Dr. Wiley, she doesn't have her LISW, but she has a private practice, but she has to they have to pay out of pocket.
To have a supervisor.
No, like she does therapy. But
Uh-huh.
It's like
Oh, it's cash only. She
Yes,
can't
cash
take
only.
insurance. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's hard to come by. Like,
Sometimes they do that, at least in the psych field, because of Medicaid. There's a lot of stuff Medicaid, Medicare where if you accept it, it restricts certain things. And I know that they say, well, yeah, you don't have the more people that are less in high lower income, but you get the freedom in that sense to do more, I guess, because they have restrictions that they apply
right.
to your
Yeah.
business if you accept their insurance.
Right. Yeah. That's for sure. I wonder and yeah, cash payments are hard to, you know what I mean? Like people do it because you would be seeing Dr. Wiley, but like you said, it's got to be cash only,
Yep.
which is very challenging. I've recently joined a place. Normally, when you have a LSW and you work for an agency, they give you 50% of the money they take in and they take 50%. When you become independently licensed, they give you 60% of the money and they take 40. There's a new venue called Grow Therapy. Have you guys ever seen that yet? It's growtherapy.com. You can go see a counselor. They give, because everything's electronic, there's no secretary, you sign up and they give you 85% of the money and they take 15%. So it's good, but it's online. I shouldn't say but sometimes online seems different than face-to-face in my opinion.
I'm curious how the apps work. I met somebody who worked for an application as a social worker, and the application was like travel nursing. She was able to go, they basically pulled up jobs and she took the job and went to any business she wanted to.
And they pay a lot, right?
She said they paid really good.
Because
They
travel
said she was
social
happy
workers,
about it.
yeah, travel social workers make a lot of money too, but you're a vagabond. So why I stayed kidless and everything for 42 years. Because you can travel, you go overseas, whatever it may be. And obviously we'll all have different routes on that. No route is the right route to go. It's just, these are our last two reports that are coming out. later in the year. So we're having opportunities for treatment and supports, and then opportunities for funding. So we're presenting on this data next week, but the most important are 6 areas we want action from the data. So we want to improve engagement in BIPOC communities. Does everyone know what BIPOC means? Because it is kind of a new term. At least to me it was too. So
I think so.
you do think you know what it means? And if somebody does and wants to blur it out, that's fine too. I'm just curious. I believe it is biracial, interracial people of color. Does that sound right? Am I saying that right? I probably have to Google it. BIPOC? What's that? You said I'm the guy.
It says black and indigenous.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
what they told us.
Okay.
Well, that's what she
That's
told
why I was asking, and this was not my section. So, but we want to have them engaged, you engaged in planning and decision making. Number 2, collect and use data to understand behavioral health workforce needs and related, as it's related to race and ethnicity. Like the test passage rate was important to us. We want to do all we can. Like Dr. Nikita Jackson. Anybody had her yet? What do you have her for? Practice, I guess?
I had 2 online classes or something.
Oh, she is. She's online certified. See, that's right. Dr. Nikita Jackson. I know she's 2 months shy of it, but I call her doctor. She's a doctor. I told her to go to UK for grad school. That's where I went. The top tier.
So happy for her.
Yes. Yes. Oh yeah, she's having her baby in a month. Holy shit. We both have a baby this year. Mine's September 15th. Hers is like March 15th. And you're March 15th.
No, I'm in a week.
February 15th?
Come on.
Dude, is this your first?
Yeah.
They checking the dilation and shit? They're like, dang, yeah. Whoa. So okay, all right. So you might be joining us on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. That's like COVID. Our first 3 babies were COVID babies, and they put on a jumpsuit and like shoved this thing up her nose just to admit her to the hospital to have the baby. It was bad. And nobody could come visit.
I would hate it.
No family could come see you fresh having a baby. It sucked. We also want to conduct statewide workforce and programming in a way that facilitates diversity, equity, and inclusion in behavioral health, improve recruitment, retention, advancement of BIPOC professionals by creating a more culturally inclusive workspace, align behavioral health workforce efforts across the state agencies and all relevant partners, and establish a pipeline for future BIPOC workers, which we've already done that. Does anybody know who our people are? We're starting to connect to other graduate schools and maybe even start our own. Miami was one. That was the first visit. UC is another. Dayton was another, which was random. But theirs is counseling. Is Dayton like the biggest PWI you could think of? Do you know what UD is?
UD is huge.
50,000 a year.
It's huge.
I don't know if graduate school's that much. A lot of times grad schools, like I did my master's at Xavier for like 10 grand, but their undergrad is 50,000. So it's undergrad where they tax the shit out of you. Like
$250,000 to get a bachelor's there?
yes,
Jesus Christ.
I know. And that's becoming standard at a lot of colleges. It's so sad. It's very sad.
Yeah.
But so we have UC, UD, Miami University. And they are pretty damn affordable. I forget, did anybody make it to Miami? You all went to the basketball game, didn't you?
Yeah.
Damn. They hate me right now for that. They freaking hate me. And I
They
say,
didn't get moved.
But I think
Someone
that's
should do the research to make sure that data.
I really hate that happened though. I was gonna go.
I know. I told them, they're like, yeah, we sent a charter bus for 56 and 5 came. It was $1,500 instead of a $300 van they were going to rent from Hertz Rent. I said, this is a badass bus you got here.
That's terrible.
Anyway, we failed on that. We failed on that partnership.
Yeah, that felt true.
They probably
They probably don't want no partnership no more.
Oh.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
I would
Behind me, 5 people. Like, well.
So yeah, that was our partnership we had created. Then we had all kinds of recommendations for our education system. So this is where it gets thick. What's that?
If they spin back, I'll do it.
Oh, you mean Miami? Miami? They got $4 million. I hope they can do it again.
Yeah.
They didn't give us a drop of that. I mean, they are going to give it to the students, but they didn't give us shit. They didn't even put our name on the grant.
Wow.
And they wouldn't have gotten the grant without us. So
I need to go ahead and do that.
But
Like-
that's why they got 5 people.
we found out the hard
That's why you
way.
listen, you're right.
We found out the hard way that we should have had a contract up front that were like, if you don't put our damn name on this, we are not partnering.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Lessons learned, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully someone's writing that down. Correcting for the future.
We had our president in on it. We had, dude. She said you can write the grant up however you want it, how you received it through. I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, it would be nice to at least. Then I thought about it. I'm like, if they gave us some of that money, is the professors who got the grant get money, would that be a conflict of interest? Because then we're like, you guys should go to Miami University. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? I'm glad they didn't give me shit. Like they could put our name on it, but don't give me money. Is then they're buying me out. I don't want to be bought out.
That's the problem with pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't want to buy it.
Right, I don't. I don't want to be a sellout. Like for real, I'd rather grow my own damn food than buy it at Kroger's.
Use the natural selection that actually helps us grow towards positivity.
Yes, yeah. So there's a few more on here. These are lengthy, but I wanted to show you guys our current research. If any of that's helpful, I don't know if it gives you more questions.
That's a lot. That's usually the part I said he's skipping over.
Our eyes are glazing over. And we have one more Senate meeting at 4. Every Thursday at 4, we have a department meeting, a Senate meeting, or a college meeting, or the AAUP
Uh-oh.
at 4 every single Thursday.
I can't do
And
it.
my wife's at home pregnant with 3 under 3, and she's about to kill me if I don't make it home fast. You know, that's how it goes.
I wouldn't invite you in so many toddlers. Like I can barely.
You're one toddler.
Yeah, she will be 15 months in March.
They're terrible. That little shit that woke me up at 3 in the morning. Like, dude, you're
Yeah.
crying and wanting to drink a bottle at 3 in the morning. He can speak in full sentences. I'm like, can't you make your own damn bottle?
You say
So-
he's 3?
He's 2.
Oh,
He's 2. He will be 3 in like May, and the 3-year-old will be 4 in June, and the 1-year-old will be 2 in December.
People keep telling me like, you need to get her off the bottle. There's no way she's.
They won't get off the bottle. No. Our 1-year-old is, but she breastfed him for 13 months. That's the other problem. Now he won't take a bottle, and that's a problem. Like, don't breastfeed for that. What?
They don't want it.
Hell no. He's like sitting there. He'll like smack it to get it to flow better, and I'm
This
like,
is my authenticated. I don't want it.
Right.
he'll be hitting it to make like the juice come. And he's like, come on. And it's like, dude, you got teeth. You need to get off this. And she says that. So, all right. So we had a bunch of workforce recommendations, essentially like finding ways to fund it. We're writing different grants with UD and UC, develop fund for incumbent worker training programs, scholarships, internships, field placements, residency positions. I'm kind of cruising through these, so I apologize. Align the workforce across relevant agencies. So we're participating in racial and ethnic equity task force. There's like a few more of these. Implement recommendations of the governors. I'm going to fall asleep on you today. Wellness workforce initiative, including creating and supporting ongoing wellness incentives to recruit, retain, and financially support students with marginalized identities for the duration of their academic licensure process. Implement recommendations for Governor Wellness Workforce Initiative, create scholarships. So a lot of those have like the governor has thrown some money and grants at us and HBCUs and training for mental health professionals in general. arrange finance and formal mentorship programs. That's something we could certainly use right now for BIPOC professionals. How did you say it was?
Black indigenous.
Black, indigenous. I don't know where we got biracial, interracial. See, that's why I'm not taking that slide. They have me present. Okay. I write on my hand when I'm. It's a mouthful. And when you sleep 2 hours a night, you don't remember stuff. Mandate cultural. I know the essence of the thing, but using the right words sometimes makes it a little messy. Mandate cultural competency training for faculty, staff, and administrators, which we do actually have that. Anybody else work for? You probably had trainings to get what you do now. Is that correct?
Mine was, they require in some situations, but again, since it's not regulated like some positions by a board, they took my experience and just testimonies from people I worked with, and I kind of bypassed all that.
Okay.
Technically supposed to have a degree.
Right. Yeah. The pipeline is definitely forming. So Miami, University of Cincinnati, we've had that pipeline at UC for 10 years. Anybody know anyone from University of Cincinnati?
My dad just
Okay.
graduated there.
Okay.
With his master's.
So that is certainly there. We do have the field experiences in diverse settings. We're trying to gather more, collect from higher education institutions relevant workforce data in terms of racial and ethnic demographics of students enrolled in initiatives to recruit students from BIPOC communities as it relates to their behavioral health program. So we are doing that too. We have, it's called the workforce program, and we meet once a month, and we're going into the public schools to just talk about social work and talk about, a lot of people don't know you can be a counselor with a social work license. Did you all ever hear that? Did you know that?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I was
Changed my
one.
major.
I had a counselor in high school. Her major was social work.
So you knew that. Okay. I remember when they told me, they said, if you get a license, as I was working, I wanted to be a homeless advocate, and I worked in like special needs with autism in school. And when you apply to jobs, you put your resume up on like Indeed. You ever heard of that? And it's like public to everybody, so they can call you. And some guy called and said, like, do you have a license? What do you make now? I think I was making $24,000 a year. It was in 2006. He said, we will raise your salary by 50% if you pass a licensure test and come work at Claremont Recovery Center. So sure, I said I would never take that licensure
That's
exam
motivation.
ever. Never, ever, 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 because I hate tests. I don't want a test take. I do get time and a half on tests. I think I finished it in 4 hours because I got the ADHD and dyslexia. I finished it. I got a 71. You need a 70.
Ooh.
I know so many people that get 68 and 69. Like,
It
sucks.
Yeah.
you just retake it.
Close at
Just
all.
Yeah, I would say
retake
they
it. Just
only
retake
take
it.
it without a fee, at least a certain amount. I know nursing after the second one, you have to pay again. but
Right.
nursing at least again in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think, yep, it's like a waiver that they do.
How many times can you take it? Like, can you just keep taking it or whatever?
You can.
Pass?
Yeah, but it is sad when you pay that much, you know what I mean? But you can, yeah. So maybe study more, train differently, train better. Email me for the practice test. Nikita has a bunch she's doing. All of us have practice tests for you guys.
Sad that those, a lot of academias can have so many paywalls.
I'm so
Right. Oh, here's the
confused.
reports. Do these things work for you ever? So we can give you the report that we wrote up. So if you're big into academia, uh-oh. Wife called, chair called, wife called. 3 under 3.
You might want to get that.
Probably last night they were throwing up.
Uh-oh.
I know. Does it work?
Yeah.
Really? Dude,
What is this?
this is the report.
Oh, okay, I see.
Or is it the survey?
Is this
It's the
survey?
survey.
Oh, damn it.
So this is the survey to collect data for some of the stuff you use?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hold on. Ready? That's the one I meant to get. Or is this the same thing? Watch this be the same damn thing. I'm gonna be pissed. She said, "Let's see." I think that's
Yeah,
a,
Same thing.
damn it. So we have the report. So if you just search that, behavioral health in Ohio. If you want to see the report, here's kind of what it looks like. If you get to their website, well, yeah, there it is. It's that. There you go.
Oh, okay.
So behavioral health in Ohio. I'll show you. Maybe it was. What's that noise? So yeah, that's our first report. We're behind on the last two. We're in trouble. We ran out of money. We always run out of money. What's that? What'd you say?
Central State is hanging on by a thread.
That's kind of what I'm understanding. Is that true?
Yes.
You really?
Well, it's low on the.
Yes.
So what all have you heard? Tell me more. What's the
We
deal?
are fighting for our life.
Why? And where are you hearing this?
If I realize what.
I think it's an attendance, because people don't consider the
Attendance,
cost to actually
yeah,
maintain
that's
a
part of
facility
it.
like this size, like.
We're running out of money for
Pretty
certain
intense.
programs.
2,000 in-person students.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? They upped
We
it
don't have
on.
bad housing issues though. Like not as bad as other schools.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying ours aren't bad?
No.
I thought ours
No,
were
not in
bad.
comparison.
I thought there was
No.
mice and snakes and mold.
It's the people.
Okay,
outside.
yes,
Okay.
but no.
Yes.
Like yes,
Makes sense.
but no.
You have
We've
to
gotten a
consider
lot
where
better
we are.
about all of those things.
We're in the
I think
woods.
there's still mold in the ones I'm hearing, but I don't live
Okay.
there. Me either.
Because I've been reporting that on our meeting's coming up here in a half an hour. So,
Housing
Bruce
is
class.
not the biggest.
Yeah,
issue.
it's not bad.
I can say that.
because they're building all the new shit, the mice haven't gotten in there yet. They got to keep it sealed though. Is that like once they find?
I stay in those apartments back there.
Are those nice?
They're really nice, but the thing is,
How much?
well, it's $6,000 a semester. So that's the downside, but
You got to leave in the summer.
Yeah.
Damn.
it's a 3-bedroom
Okay.
and then
They're actually really nice.
a bathroom. But
So much sure.
I had,
Yeah.
I had issues with my door. There's a huge gap in my door.
They
So
just built them,
anything-
right?
Yeah,
They just-
anything can crawl in. and
Everything.
crawl-
Do you-
is
so- Random. I know that, but would you be open to ordering off? Not that you're responsible for this, but for a temporary fix, that spray foam.
Well,
You know what I'm
actually,
talking about? You go, shh.
Yeah, I had been trying to get them to come fix it since September.
Did you stuff a towel in there or something?
I had a piece of cardboard
Okay.
sitting there for the longest, and just this morning they came and put like a piece of metal paneling or something right there. So
They
nobody
kind of
can
fixed it.
get in, but they said the people who own the building, which I mean, I thought Central owned the building, but I guess
I think
they
President
don't.
Thomas owns the old president from last year.
Oh, okay.
I heard he bought all those apartments for like a sustained.
They said that they'd have to come in and take my whole door off the hinges and redo the whole thing. So I'm like,
They framed it in wrong. It sounds like.
like the
okay.
angle is off, so there's gaps on both
But they
sides.
knew that. They knew that when they finished it.
So I live
They
in-
tried to finish them so
I live in the
fast.
honors apartment. You can tell that like it was like a rush build.
Right, everything's a
Yeah,
rush.
it's like on the back of like my kitchen counter, you know, your countertop, and then like there's that little piece on the back. It's like uneven.
Buy the
So like
spray
there's like
foam.
a big like there's like a gap.
Okay.
From like where the countertop is actually not even touching like.
Right. Finish work is where people short all the time. As I had to, when I was rehabbing affordable housing in Cincinnati, it was called Restock in 1999 when I worked for them. It was Ray Street Tenant Organization Co-op. And sometimes like somebody moved out and you ever seen the big grease stain on the wall above the stove? It's like just from frying stuff. We would buy Kills and paint over it because Kills is like an oil base that it just seals it in there. So you'd seal in the spider webs but it would at least seal it in there, but it was a shortcut. We didn't properly clean it. So there's like little shortcuts you take. Spray foam, I think, would work for you. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah,
It's like
I've heard of
$5.
it. I'm like, I've been
You don't wanna
asking
pay
to
for
fix
it,
this
right.
3 or 4 months.
That sucks.
My daughter keeps like it's just.
She
But
probably
there's
sees the light
spiders.
coming in like, ooh, like,
I've
and
got
spiders.
coming inside.
Right.
And I'm like terrified because she takes stuff and eats it, and I was.
That's why she
Right.
makes sure, like,
have you seen what I'm talking about? I'll try to
people
show
order
you
it
fast.
fast.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
I've heard it's like a can, spray can.
Because that looks thin enough, this would work.
Like comes little can.
That's
and then
the
right.
stuff.
Yeah, And
And
that,
so-
That was the go-to for all the
that
generic
week it
departments
got
I worked
super
for.
cold. There was frost on the inside.
Right, yeah, because freeze will come in there for sure. So you would probably get, they deliver. Oh, they got Gorillas now? Gorilla Glue makes one? This is the one I always got.
I'm scared because
That's
what if they
cheap.
find me?
Well, if you did it on the outside,
Well, yeah.
just do it from the outside. Be like, I don't know who did that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like for
I'm surprised
6,000,
they
we don't even
figured
have
it out.
a washer and dryer.
Oh, you don't?
You have to
You
go to
don't?
the other building. There's
That's
supposed to
weird.
be some, and they're supposed to be in the bathroom, but
Is there a hookup for him?
yeah. And he's talking about, well, we have a contract and they have to finalize stuff.
You about to buy your own?
It's
'Cause
been
they're-
months. Like,
You can go to the,
I have to go home every weekend.
that
to wash
stinks.
clothes.
I did that through grad school. How much are washer and dryers nowadays? Those
A
are
lot.
essential, aren't they? Don't they have some that are like combined now? How much are those stupid things? I know. I'd just grab one of them and plug it in. I'd drag it in myself.
I think those are even more expensive though, because it's new technology.
Right.
They have the one in there. We have a certain room that you go in and use the washer and dryer, but you have to call somebody to unlock it. If somebody's not available, you
That
have
sucks.
to sit there and wait. It's just
We had people steal our clothes in grad school. Like I'd be watching, kind of pissed off. But did you all have any questions at this point?
No.
You
Thirsty.
ready to graduate?
absolutely.
Sweet.
I'm kind of nervous
You know,
about
May-
it.
May 2025, we cannot.
Oh, you all like a year and 2 years short of graduation? What's the longest? Who's got the longest?
2025.
Probably.
2027? 2026.
Right in fall 27.
You want to do 18,
I'm
18,
the beginning of it.
26.
I'm doing summer classes too, so.
and 11 in the summer?
Yeah.
Because that would be, you're allowed to take, 11 hours. So you can do 18, 18, 11, 18, 18, 11.
They're the only age.
They are super fast.
Yeah, I only did 8 because I mean, as
You
much
can
as
pull
I'm
it
good
off.
at managing, you could. It's just.
But we
I
can do
can't-
up to
it's hard
11 over the
not to
summer.
my
You
previous
can.
summer. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
do
pretty
yoga
good.
for 3 hours or
I will
something.
get out of here.
That's assuming you can pass everything and get good
Right.
grades.
Because I'm behind.
Right.
I think
I
it's-
need
or
that,
not go crazy.
I need that spring 26.
Yep.
No.
They're either 5 or
I
10
need that
weeks.
spring 26.
I
Instead of
did
16.
15 credits.
I have to take summer classes in order to graduate.
Right. Yep. I did. Yes.
Oh my gosh, when can we schedule, when will we know which classes are being offered for the summer semester?
God, that's such a wild card too. Because if it doesn't fill up, they cancel them.
Right.
Unless you got an idiot like me, I had one student, they're like, will you take the prorated pay? And I got like a quarter of the pay for one last year. I just teach them anyway, but they want you to have at least 6 to make money for the university to pay us to teach them.
Yeah.
So were you offering this summer?
I'll offer the one I just had up. You want to take practice too?
No, like this class at this.
Oh gosh. It's funny because I taught it in grad school and it's all one class in grad
Mhm.
school. But I've never taught 2 here yet. I could pull it off.
Who'd you
I'm
choose to
taking
now?
Dr.
Nisha.
Wiley,
Dr. Nisha Wiley.
I'm taking one.
For human and behavior too.
Right. And I'm sorry, you asked a question. And I answered her.
For human and behavior change, she's saying the second version of this class.
Right, I could try if you want me to. I've never taught
I
part
just want to
2.
say everything I need to say.
You want to get done.
Yes.
And you may
I
just
want-
need to
that's what I wanna get
stack.
done. I want to
So
catch up.
we need to, obviously,
I'm a
for our
cry.
version. Yeah, that makes sense.
You need to stack hours.
Yeah.
There's only 9 social work classes for real. I think there's 9.
So I need to get all my prerequisites and all my sidebars and everything else.
All your science, you said?
No, that's not what I was saying. I said sidebars, but I meant like
Oh,
all
right.
classes, like other stuff I did.
Underwater
Yes,
basket
yes.
weaving? Underwater basket weaving. Do they have underwater basket weaving here?
If that's a class.
I know.
No, because that just sounds ridiculous.
That's always the joke when they'd be like, don't take that, or art history, or theology, which I have a degree in theology. I have 2 degrees in theology. I do. I got an MA in theology and pastoral counseling, and I got a bachelor's of theology.
What made you want to?
Do social work, theology,
What made you want to take?
living in El Salvador, Nicaragua, and like living in a Christian-based community down there.
My dad's actually an
Okay, like a Mormon. So an elder, aren't elders?
just in the Christian church.
Right, yeah. I always thought that was a Mormon term. That makes sense.
It is.
So, well, objective, you're just calling us elder.
I mean, that's it. So he took the test.
So theology is different religion.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
the study of the 5 major world religions: Islam, Judaism, Christianity. Why am I blanking today? Buddhism, Islam, Christian. The 3 Abrahamics are Islam, Judaism, Christianity. Then you got Buddhism and Hinduism, the Eastern stuff.
Religion's the beginning of education.
Yeah, right.
That's how you learn to read. That's just home.
I promised you infants today, but how many people deal with toddlers and get pissed at them ever? Yeah. Okay.
Story of my life.
Well, then you can start. What about them? What about infants? What about toddlers?
Kids.
This is important too. This is a lot of clientele you'll get. Yes.
So I don't know. I was a personal babysitter for years.
Yeah.
Like for like 3 different families, and I felt like I always like learned to like not get like upset or frustrated
Yes.
because like you don't like
They're
let's
being
go, people
kids.
shake babies.
They're being
People shake
kids.
babies. Like it
Yes.
happens. Or like people will accidentally like hit them. Like if like the baby's like crying, like you get really frustrated. For me, like what I've learned is like just set them down and just take a moment to calm yourself down, so then you can like be in like a good sense of mind, so you actually can like deal with the child properly. Because I feel like sometimes like when we get high emotions, we can do things that we don't necessarily think all the way through.
Have you heard of the acronym too when you need to take care of those unmet needs first? HALT. You guys ever heard of the HALT one? It's if you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, you take care of that before. Like I got 2 or 3 hours of sleep. I can see when I get home. Maybe I can push the dude like I did yesterday, but I'm getting older. I pushed him up to he calls it Sand Beach Volleyball Court. It's like a mile and a half from us in Coleraine or White Oak. Do you know where like a big greenhouse in Coleraine is, or White Oak? And I always push him up there. It's so I probably can handle that, but usually the stuff that pisses you off is like they'll take the bag of pretzels and just dump it. They take all the toys and they just collapse it. Like it's anything, to get your attention.
Yeah, I caught my daughter eating her book. Like,
Oh, yeah.
It's a board book, and she's just sitting there just
Gnawing on it.
I'm like,
How old is she?
she'll be 15 months in March.
So she's probably getting those extra teeth in then too.
She has
she's
4 right
yeah, she's like teething on the cardboard. Oh yeah, she's teething. Oh. So yeah, there's lots of social change and consequences for infants. So historically, well, yeah, we did this too. The world population exponential growth since 1945 has been insane. There's like 1 billion. You're like, I'm done, dude. We gotta go. We got 9 minutes. When my dad was born, there was 2 billion people. So in 45, 2 billion people. In 71, 3 billion people. In 78, 4 billion people. In 86, like 5 billion people. In 99, as I was in psych class then, there were 6 billion. We reached our 6 billionth person. Anybody know what we're at right now? I know we did this.
We're like 8, 9, right?
Is freaking flying up there, yeah.
You know what's funny?
It's gonna be
We're still considered by a lot of people up in the expert field of this that we're in a deficit, that we actually need to keep increasing
Right.
production.
Right.
'Cause
Yes.
Otherwise, we can't fill the industrial era of the future, which those like industries will collapse in a sense without the workforce.
Right.
It's
Which,
interesting.
yeah.
China's
So,
getting really bad right now. China's
Concept,
getting
man.
real bad.
oh, they're having a collapse.
They have
Japan.
this big infrastructure that needs to be filled, but their deficit for so many years because they were trying to fix that overpopulation. is actually now showing the signs of why manipulating that isn't the answer. Instead, it was actually finding ways to accommodate for the population.
Right.
And they're seeing this like, well, this is like lack of production. We're actually going backwards now because soon, once those people die, the people that take over will not be able to sustain the infrastructure that's there.
I
Right.
really think we just need to use more land.
More land. Yeah. But some people don't want that land. Like Bill Gates did buy, I think, the most billion acres out of anybody in the past.
Which I believe, but that's like I don't think overpopulation is the main issue that we're facing here. Like, it's definitely a big one, but that's just because overpopulation is primarily becoming an issue in these major cities and these
Right.
overdeveloped countries. Like,
Yeah.
have so much space that isn't being used for anything.
Yeah. There's some definite interesting theories if you dig into those. Do you know what the big thing that stopped infant mortality or the population growth fired up? What's that?
I said no.
What's
Drugs, like antibiotics. I think I'm gonna throw it on antibiotics and like, because people would die. Did you say really? Or I'm sorry, what did you say? You gotta go, don't you? You got. Yeah, like so many people would die from disease. So like, supposedly one of the number one killers is still diarrhea.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like if I don't know if
Dehydration.
dehydration from diarrhea.
The diarrhea is the cause, but the death comes from the dehydration. The diarrhea is the
Okay.
I don't care how much
It shows how
Yeah.
Hydration, balance.
it's not the amount of stool that comes out, it's the fact that the diarrhea is expelling liquid, right? Expelling water from the system at a rapid rate, so much so that it can't replace it.
Right.
That's what these cases usually show.
Yeah.
Elvis died on the toilet.
Who?
Elvis?
Oh.
His was
Elvis
due to-
did die on the
This was due to
toilet.
something, was
He absolutely,
unrelated
but I
to
think he
school
was
itself.
constipated. I don't think it was not even.
Oh, okay.
His efforts, because your heart rate lowers, it actually had to do with his low blood pressure, because your blood pressure lowers when you actually are having
Oh, he was trying to poop.
And he had issues with indigestion, or given all this medication that actually allowed his, it was just food and
Oh.
stuff, and his efforts literally exceeded to a point where they basically gave himself a heart attack trying to poop.
Okay, I always thought he
Michael Jackson's story
was
is-
like the overdose, throw up, breathe it in, and choke on it guy.
It was-
But
a mixture
Okay.
of a lot of those things that kind of led to it.
right, okay,
Depending on the medication though.
right. So yeah, improved nutrition and control of infection and disease. So when they got antibiotics, like serious population increased recognition in the early 60s for the consequences of poor early child development. That's at least in America. Like in the US, we started passing laws. We had the Head Start program, like federal funds in 65, early Head Start in 95. And we'll get into those. Anybody heard of early Head Start and early Head Start? Because that's where a lot of social worker jobs are still. Like they will hire you to work for Head Start, early Head Start.
We went to Head Start.
Yeah.
And those are before preschool kind of programs.
Yeah, like making sure your development is on point, that you're eating right, that you're walking. I mean, do you remember it? Are you remembering
Yeah, I
some of
actually
that?
do.
So could you tell us about it?
I mean, it was kind of like a classroom setting.
Yeah.
With, just people, kids your age. I mean, it was basically like preschool, but we were like, you didn't get to preschool until maybe 3 or 4. I think.
Right. Like kindergarten's mandated 5.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I had to do an extra year of Head Start because they felt like I wasn't ready for
okay.
kindergarten because I guess I was too hyper.
So you did it at like 4 or 5, and then you went to kindergarten.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So just preparing you for life, and probably maybe they had nutrition to help,
Yeah, they
like
had.
cheese and
Yeah.
milk.
I went to Miami Valley something. I can't remember.
In Dayton.
MPC, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Trotwood.
Yeah. So they and this is good, is we want to make sure everybody gets a chance to have the proper development and the nutrition. I hear something like India alone puts out 600 million lunches at school every day, and that sounds like a lot.
I remember we
Yeah.
used to have to pay for lunches. Now they're free pretty much.
Since the pandemic, that kind of shifted. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to go up based on your parents' income.
Yeah.
And then you got pay or whatever.
Yeah.
Have a quarter.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, like chocolate milk. So yeah, and we'll get into this on Tuesday, but just some of the societal changes, the consequences. But 80s, 90s, maybe you could have one or two working parents with just 1.5 jobs. Now it's like, I don't know if that's possible. Now you see at least 2.5 jobs or 3.5 jobs to support a family. I mean, you can't adjust how you live, so that is one thing. But even folks, you guys see how much rent is. You see how much gas is. You see how much fuel and heating and cooling. What am I missing in there? Water.
Now it's internet costs.
So I want to end on that thought, and you all do a meditation on the cost of living for 72 hours.
There you go.
How can we fix it? Should we grow our own food? Yeah.
When is the next assignment due?
Oh, didn't we pick a date?
Like We Tuesday, picked one day,
Third.
and I downloaded the app and forgot to check it.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I put it in there and I forgot to remember it.
So what exactly are we supposed to do? Just
The-
print this?
The eco map?
Yeah, what are we supposed to do with it? I mean, like.
Really, you just draw up an eco map about yourself, what you do all day, who you work with, who you see, who's important in your life, energy between people, church, school, work.
I found that useful. I did a little mock-up just for my own reasoning, not for the assignment.
Yeah.
It was surprising. It actually helped me assess how to recognize certain people and environments in the future that might be helpful or workable to my life.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah, it kind of, I like the tracking device too. I know it sounds weird or paranoid, but if you download your own tracking device, don't your fingers swell in the summer or the winter? Oh, that almost didn't come off. Ouch. Do your fingers swell in the winter? Or is it the summer?
No. Well, my fingers are fat,
I
so I don't know.
do swell at certain seasons, but I can't remember which one is what.
Probably lack of sleep, inflammation. I just thought of that. Okay. Well, that is all I have. And yes, questions about the Gina Grant?
Yeah, when are you gonna, have you looked at them?
Oh, crap. I will grade those. I'm sorry. I was trying to give everybody a chance. Those who haven't turned it in, I'm keeping it open. Please turn it in. I want to look them. It does date it when you turn it in, so I know you've got it in time. But just, yes, please. I'm sorry I'm behind. Yes.
This isn't about that, but you mentioned the CDCA licensure that you can get after having associates in social work. What is
Associate's degrees, they're really just 60 hours of anything. You can get your chemical dependency counselor assistantship.
And then you basically assist counselors that deal with people with chemical dependency.
Yeah, but you still see the people, do case management, counsel them, bill for it. So you
Basically what I do now is that kind of position where I'm still basically doing counseling, but I'm like indirectly counseling them, if that makes sense.
yeah, and you can get, paid. They get paid the case management or the Medicaid counselor fee. So like the agencies get paid like 80 an hour or 90 an hour for you. So they might pay you 20 an hour or
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
25 an hour, I think, is standard. That's it. I know it's 1:45. I'm sorry. We got our meeting too. See, I'm either hot or cold, way too early or way too late. Whew. Oh yeah, here's the.
I just realized I gotta I download the